Yes. Hundreds, T-Man. Hundreds. I missed some of the flight review call. Did anyone ask about the status of C-205? That was originally supposed to be the Demo 2 capsule, but got reassigned to the IFA mission. 205 is... They're working on it, if I'm remembering what Gerst said correctly. They're building it out right now to be a full capsule. I know that parts of it are being used on other capsules, I think. I think that's what he said. That buddy was Jeb. That's right. I was talking to my buddy Jeb. Alright. So I'm going to unmute KSP. It has to be as reliable as an airplane, Jake. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. You always learn stuff from the FRRs, guys. That's why I sit here and pay attention to them. But we do have a deadline as well, which is why I played Kerbal in the background. I didn't get all the details as good as I usually do from just sitting there and listening. But yeah, the other thing is, guys, people ask, like, why aren't you calling in? I don't call in. I listen. Most of the things within reason are said during the FRR by the people on the panel, on the FRR panel. You could pick up a great deal of information if you just shut up and listen. And I'm not one to sit here and say what can and can't be asked, but a lot of the times the reporters, they aren't listening. It's pretty obvious they either A, aren't listening, or B, don't know what they're talking about. Because they ask stuff that they already answered. Did you get this in Space News? Is this about Bill? Oh, no, it's not. SpaceX's Gwen Shotwell said she believes Starship will be flying large numbers of people in 5 years. I recognize we never make our timelines, so they're aspirational, but you have to aim high. Yeah, pretty much confirms what I've been thinking. They set those crazy, impossible goals on purpose to be able to outpace everyone else. This is why SpaceX moves so fast. It's not a bad way to do it. You gotta aim high, man. Yeah, Naz, man, I'll just go out and say it. Joey's question was bottom tier, dude. That was Bush League. Joey's not been good on the questions game lately, which is weird because he used to ask Jim a lot of really good questions, but yeah, not so much anymore. TJ, you should have link perms. Where have you been, by the way? Is everything okay? Like, you dropped off the face of the earth, dude. Is everything good? How you doing? Just on a side note, if you don't want to talk about it, I get it. It's all good. Yeah, but Sawyer, I'll tell you what, that LOX anomaly screams Gerst. That's Gerst all day, but you can't really sit here and give him crap. He knows firsthand what it's like to ignore the data like that. Don't screw around with that stuff. Yeah. Bill, so if you guys don't know a lot about Gerst worked on the shuttle program. He was on the shuttle program basically from its start to its end. Yeah. And he worked his way up through NASA to the head of NASA's human spaceflight operations. He started as I think he was an aerodynamics engineer. Oh, I'm recovering from a second COVID shot today, but I've been okay. Wrote boldly going with E of pi. Wait, what a minute. Wait, you wrote that? Yep, that's right. You got it. You got it, Sawyer. Alright, anyway, let me get the music up. Did you wrote that, TJ? I didn't write the book. I wrote an AH.com story. Oh. He's talking about this. Oh. Cool. That's cool, man. Good to have you around. Alright, let's get this Freedom 7 booster put together. Well, I don't hate what I see there, that's for sure. Alright, Nikita, see ya. It's just some other royalty-free music that I thought sounded cool. Christian. Christian chat. I love the Wet Workshop tank, dude. No problem, boo. You got it, Rob.
No, it's Ron.
DJ, 38. There we go. Nope. Undo it. I broke it. The booster's bent. Okay. I know, very off topic, but I got into space around Starhopper and I've heard about Constellation. Can you give me like a brief summary of what it was? I believe Ares 1 was part of it. Oh crap. Constellation was basically a three-part plan to ensure, you know, a sustainable U.S. space program over the course of the next 30 years. The reason why Project Constellation came around Wii Sports was in response to Columbia getting broken. Remember? So I don't know if you were old enough for that, but Columbia had a problem with its thermal protection system due to a debris strike on the way up, and came down, and it didn't. The crew didn't come back. So in response, they decided that, you know, we're not gonna, you know, we need something to, we need to basically go back out into space again. We need to start flying out. I'm just gonna recover this. This is junk. That booster's no good. It's all bent. I don't know why it bent like that, but that's okay. You know, we need to basically, we're going to go back to the moon, and then we need to basically pick up where the Apollo program left off. The Constellation program had 3 distinct phases. The first phase was to replace the space shuttle with something so you don't have what's called a stopgap. Okay? That was Ares 1. Ares 1 with the Orion capsule was supposed to basically be our way to get into space to the ISS, you know, well, we were working on vehicles to get back to the moon. So Ares 1 would have been the first phase. The second phase would have began probably around 2018, 2019, somewhere around there. Or right around now, believe it or not, if you know, if, you know, we had a worst case scenario. And that would have involved a vehicle called Ares 5. Ares 5 is very similar to the SLS, but it has a much bigger upper stage, and it's using RS-68s, so Delta 4 boosters, instead of shuttle boosters. The reason why is that Ares 5 was supposed to be unmanned. It was supposed to be a heavy lift launch vehicle with almost 190 ton payload capacity to orbit. So, once Ares 5 got operational, what NASA was going to do, and in the 2020s, basically, you would have entered the second phase of Constellation. Constellation had a third component to it, and this was well, not a third component, but part of the first phase of Constellation was going back to low Earth orbit, but NASA didn't want to get it stuck in low Earth orbit again like they did with the space shuttle. So when phase 2 rolled out, what they would have done is launched Ares 5, right, and used Ares 5 and Ares 1 to go back to the moon, okay, in the 2020s. That's what they wanted to do. Now, what about the space station? What about low Earth orbit? Well, Constellation had a little program tacked onto the side of it called Commercial Orbital Transport Services. Commercial Orbital Transport Services forms the backbone of commercial resupply and commercial crew. Basically, NASA was going to subsidize commercial in the background, commercial entities to be able to move people to and from the ISS, and then when the ISS went away, they would give low Earth orbit over to commercial. Right? Well, they attempted to go back to the moon, right? So, how are you going to get back to the moon with Ares 1 and Ares 5? Well, with Ares 5, you have a bigger upper stage, like I said. I'll show you a picture of it. You have a much bigger upper stage. Ares 5 kind of looks like SLS, but it's kind of different. It has 5 engines in the core stage instead of 4, and there are 68s from Delta 4. Ares 5 would have plopped down a gigantic upper stage and a lander inside of its fairing, and then Ares 1 would launch with the Orion, and the Orion would dock to the lander, and then the huge upper stage would send the whole thing out, and you basically have an Apollo program going to the moon with a much bigger lander. The lander that Ares 5 was supposed to launch was a single stage to orbit, a lunar single stage to orbit reusable lander called Altair. This is one vehicle. Because Ares 5 has such a high throw weight, and you have a much bigger vehicle, you can land this on the moon, it can take off, go back up into space, be refueled, come back down, etc., etc. It's totally reusable. It's not a 2-stage like Apollo. So with Altair and Orion, NASA would start phase 2. Phase 2 was going back to the moon. Okay? Going back to the moon, while going back to the moon, NASA would find ways to live and work in deep space. Establishing a moon base, learning how to work on another celestial body for long periods of time. Basically picking up where Apollo left off. What Apollo, when it was canceled, was going to do is establish a lunar base. You see something similar to it in the first season of For All Mankind. So, into the 2030s, once, we had 10 years basically of sustainable lunar missions going back to the moon, then we would use Ares 5 and Ares 1 to do something a little bit different. And that's what the third phase of the Constellation program is. The third phase was using Ares 5 and Ares 1. Oh, there's a picture of the lander with Orion attached to it, by the way. That's the second phase stuff, right? What they intended to do with that was to build... use Ares 5 to build gigantic transfer vehicles in low Earth orbit, with Ares 1 sending the crew up. So this would send up components to a much larger vehicle. They would assemble it up in space, and then they'd send the crew up to it, right? And these transfer vehicles would have nuclear thermal engines, and this is what we would have done right around the 2030s, if everything stayed on schedule. And they would have looked something like this. Nuclear thermal engines only need hydrogen, so you got 2 big hydrogen tanks, 1 hydrogen tank for leaving and 1 for coming back. The Copernicus are Mars transfer vehicles. That's what the 3rd phase was. The 3rd phase in the 2030s was going to Mars. I'm staging Dart, Loopy. The flight readiness review for Crew 2 got delayed by 2 hours, so yeah, here I am. We're getting ready to launch here. So, oh, HPB, yeah. That was the plan. They didn't do it. Yeah, that's Constellation. That was the plan and they didn't do it. And we'll just leave it at that. The Constellation got canceled in 2011 under the NASA Authorization Act, and it got replaced with SLS, which was seen as a more sustainable program. Constellation had been underperforming. So Constellation came on the books for, at least for Ares 1, the first phase in 2008. Actually, well, it was on the books in 2004. In 2004 to 2008, it was funded correctly. And then in 2008, because of the recession, I can only assume it was because of this. Because of the recession, they underfunded it. And then in 2009, they underfunded it again. And then in 2010, 2011, they got rid of it, citing poor performance and cost. The cost to fix it was too much. It was seen as too much at the time. So they got rid of it and replaced it with SLS. The thing is, though, is that they didn't really replace anything. They just got rid of it. A lot of folks say, like, oh, you know, well, we got Commercial Crew. What about Commercial Crew? Well, in the original project, in the original Constellation program, Commercial Crew would have came online as NASA handed over low Earth orbit to go back to the moon. Commercial stuff would have really come online sometime in the late 20-teens, early 2020s, when NASA would be attempting with Ares 5 and Ares 1 to go back to the moon. The truth of the matter is, with that situation, is that, yeah, they just kept the Constellation plan with Commercial Crew and got rid of everything else and replaced it with SLS. It was seen as more sustainable at the time. Yeah, I don't know what that means. And they did it under the guise of saving money. We could save We could save $30 billion over the next however many years doing this. You know, getting rid of this and, you know, getting rid of this and replacing with just like Commercial Crew or SLS or whatever. That I fundamentally disagree with. That's stupid. I don't really. NASA's. The whole point of NASA is to do stuff that is not. That the private sector can't do. So government funding obviously is more than private sector funding. I mean, SpaceX is the one anomaly to that nowadays. But yeah, I don't like the reasons it was canceled. It was a very visceral impulse decision that I don't agree with. But once again, you didn't ask for my opinion on it. You just wanted to know what it was. Well, there you go. It was a pretty good plan. I like it. Constellation was a really good idea, and it was really, really well thought out. We've since replaced it with SLS Journey to Mars, and then that got the boot in 2017, and then we replaced it with the Artemis program. The Artemis program is like a watered-down version of Constellation Phase 2. Yeah, it's pretty much a watered-down version of Constellation Phase 2. But hey, you know what? It's better than nothing. And we still got a super heavy lift vehicle out of it, so we still got SLS. I mean, it's not as good as Ares 5, but it could be someday. So, I mean, not ideal. Not ideal. That's cool, Unprod. Did NASA or Congress cancel Constellation? Neither. What's your favorite Skittle flavor? It's a funny way to say M&M's. Altair 4 carried 4 people in 2 stages. Are you sure it was 2-stage? Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. I made that mistake. So, okay, if it's 2-stage demo, I mean, whatever. If it's two, I mean, I don't see how that's. I mean, yeah, okay, I guess, yeah. If it's 2 stages, I mean, you still have much bigger throw weight to the moon, to the surface of the moon. But yeah, that, I mean, if it's not a single stage to orbit, yeah, I mean. Hey, Brain gives you love of the Gantry Crane thing. Right on, man. How you doing? How's your pandemic going? Hopefully you and yours are okie dokie. Who canceled the program then? The executive branch of the United States, Ryan, denotes policy. So what do you think about if they straight up just brought back the constellation name in 2017 instead of Artemis? Well, you were already developing SLS, so it really would have been 1 step backwards. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. What made Constellation so good is that, you know, okay, so it costs money for NASA to develop launch vehicles. If you're familiar with the SLS program or the Saturn V or the Space Shuttle, you know that this is expensive stuff to do, right? But NASA should be pushing the boundaries. As long as they're pushing the boundaries with spaceflight, I don't really care. Going back to Constellation and putting Ares 1 back up on the books at that point would have been counterintuitive because Dragon 2 was so close to flying. The whole point of having Ares 1 was to not have a 10-year stopgap in capability, which is exactly what happened. That's what I mean. Like, everyone says that they replaced Ares 1 with Commercial Crew. No, they didn't replace it. They just got rid of Ares 1. It's like, they didn't replace it. They just got rid of it. And just Commercial Crew was going to happen anyway. It's on the books. You can read documents from 2004 about privatizing spaceflight. Like, but before, like, when SpaceX was like 2 years old. Would NASA have kept going to the moon while getting ready for Mars? Yes. We're well. Wife is fully vet. Okay, all right. You're scheduled, and otherwise it's just been a year in my streaming office doing... Yeah, okay, HBB. Well, hey, that's good, man. Yeah, I mean, Constellation would have enabled basically easy access to the moon. Huh. Interesting, Thomas. I gotta sneeze. It would have enabled easy access. It would have been good access back to the moon, and instead of, like, establishing Gateway, it would have established a moon base, and that would have been sustainable. That would have been the sustainable way to get back to the moon. Yeah, I think canceling Constellation was a mistake. I don't think that was a good idea. You can't underfund a program for 2 years and then cite underfunding as the reason for canceling it when you were the one that underfunded it. You know what I mean? That's a little sus. Like. But once again, I'm not here to go and piss in anybody's cornflakes. You know, that's just a little sus. You know what I'm saying? But I think that happened because of the recession, to be honest with you. We never dealt with anything like that, so it was a very unsure future at the time. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's... Mistakes were made. But once again, I have the benefit of hindsight. It's really easy for me to see those mistakes, which is why I freak out when programs are underfunded with NASA. This happened the other day with, here, let me get this stage put together. This happened the other day with HLS. Well, I say the other day, it was like a couple months ago. You know, with Human Landing System, they underfunded it, and then immediately NASA started conducting studies into landing, you know, Artemis 3 and stuff. So that type of underfunding and poor performance will create problems down the road, because if you underfund it, I always say, like, and this is not my opinion. If you want to go look into the economics of NASA, this is pretty easy information to find. How research and development works with NASA is on a bell curve. So, like, you have your start of your program, right? you need the funding to be high in the beginning when you're figuring out what you want to do and how you're going to do it. And then, you start building prototypes, and then funding peaks right when you start doing test missions. And then as you transfer from test missions into operational missions, the funding goes down, and then it ends up being just a little bit higher than where you originally started. The reason the reason is because it's harder to build rockets and it's easier to fly it. Flying rockets are not expensive. Building them and designing them are. Engines, fuel tanks, spacecraft, solar panel, whatever. That's the part that costs the most money. So underfunding something at this stage of design would be like if you went to build a house, right? And you saved money on the foundation. And then you built the house on top of the foundation cracks. It's not a good idea. That's a bad idea. That's a really, really crappy way of doing things. So, that's why I start hitting the alarm button if I see stuff like this with what's going on, like how the space program funding works and whatnot. Just watched the Ares 1 launch. It kind of freaked me out with stage separation. It was just flipping around. That was on purpose. Tumble motor ignition, Wii Sports. It was supposed to do that. Are you launching tonight? Yeah, Min, we're going to. I'm going to at least get Dart up in space, and we can get that thing, we can do Lunar 4 tomorrow. That FRR really screwed me. I really wanted to start, get right into Kerbal and get this thing up off the ground. Yeah, the foundation doesn't crack if you cancel the house. Yeah. And then you don't have a house, right? Oh, of course, yeah. The analogy holds water. Constellation was really cool. It was a really good example of really solid architecture. It was about as watertight as you could get for space flight, for going into space. They thought of everything. They really did. Hypothetically, if you could choose a year in spaceflight history to alter in a new timeline, would it be 2011, 1986, or 1969? 2011 would be fine, Squishton. Yeah. That analogy doesn't hold water. The water would flow through the crack. Ah, damn, you're right. Do you think SLS and Gateway is worse than Constellation in a surface space? Well, they really don't have a choice, Ryan, because SLS doesn't have enough throw weight to put anything on the surface of the moon. Just doesn't. I'm sorry. So they really don't have a choice. Let's hope the launch is a success. Yeah, Minnesota, I'm with you on that one, pal. Crew launches always freak me out, dude. But this should be tried and tested stuff. We should be good. We got to be careful with stage separation again. That's very important so we don't have that tumble like what we did the other day when we launched the new crew up there. Got to make sure we don't have that tumble. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put separator motors on Freedom 7's upper stage. So during staging, Separatrons will keep us going. And we have to make sure we're aligned on the prograde vector at staging as well. So a little bit of a flight flight regime change, so me flying the rocket a little bit different, combined with the separator motor this should work just fine. Yeah, they could put the LK lander. Ares 5 was cool. I mean, yeah, it was a really awesome design. The cool thing is, you guys remember how I was talking about bell curves, right? So Constellation had 3 steps, right? And the way it would have worked is you would have had to bump NASA's funding right at the beginning by a couple $1 billion, and then over time that would have added up to $30 billion, right? But it would have been $30 billion over like 15 years. So that's a $2 billion boost, which for NASA that's nothing. That's pocket change. NASA, yeah, that's not that much, right? So Ares 1 and Orion development would have started first. That would have peaked, and then that would have started ramping down to operational missions. As Orion and Ares 1 were ramping down, if they did it right, they would have ramped up Ares 5, right? If you ramp up Ares 5, and ramp down Ares 1 to operational missions, you can take NASA's funding should just steadily increase for the price of inflation. So you would have had to bump it at the beginning, and then it just could have just keep funding it at the regular just to go with inflation from there. It would have taken a pretty substantial initial investment, right? What big project doesn't, right? And then they would have funded Ares 5 and Altair, right? So Ares 5 and the lunar lander. And when that funding crested, right, and that went down, they would have used Ares 1 and Ares 5 to go to the moon. And while they were doing that, funding for those Mars transfer vehicles in the 2030s would have gone up. So the funding over the next 30 years would have looked like three-phase AC. It would have looked like three-phase alternating current. And if you do it that way, NASA's budget would just look like a steady increase. Like at the beginning of Constellation, it would have gone up like this, and then it just would have been a steady increase in a bump. From there, it's a really smart way of doing things. But yeah, we ended up not doing it because we wanted to save money. At least that was the guys, I guess. HP, it's fine. But, you know, one of the guys that said that canceling Constellation is stupid, don't do that, that's a big mistake, and pretty much had the entire support of Congress behind him, was the guy that they're going to try to nominate for NASA administrator next week. So Bill Nelson was one of the guys that's saying, no, don't get rid of Constellation. That's really stupid. That's a really bad idea. And he's not the only one that said that. Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan, who are both no longer with us at this point, this was back in 2012, Neil Armstrong and Gene Cernan went to Congress and said, look, guys, they gave a congressional testimony under oath saying, look, you get rid of Ares 1. It's not that we don't like the commercial partners, but the commercial partners are going to take time. It's going to take a decade for them to get their space program under control, to get it as safe as where we are now with the space shuttle. Replacing or getting rid of Ares 1, getting rid of Ares 5 and replacing it with SLS, and then just trying to somehow expand commercial crew is a really bad idea. That we're not going to be able to launch people into space for 10 years. They still canceled it anyway, and then 10 years later, DM2 flew with Bob and Doug last year. Funny how that works, huh? It's almost like Neil and Gene knew what the hell they were talking about. First and last guy to walk on the moon right there. If they're saying don't do this, you probably shouldn't do it. Yeah, he said at the very least keep the space shuttle program going, but they were already ramping down the space program, the space shuttle. They started ramping down the space shuttle program and tried to ramp up Ares 1, and it didn't happen. It's frustrating. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that that's not frustrating. That's very frustrating. But, you know, it's in the past. We got Artemis now. Artemis is good, and at the very end of the day, we have, you know, if you really want to look at it, it's base element. Something good came out of it. SpaceX came out of it, so it's fine. It's not the worst. It's not the worst time to be a spaceflight fan now, but in 2011, I will tell you that it sucked. It was not fun. And this is why I sound the alarm bells. Look, I don't have any personal, I don't have any, financial interests in the space program doing well. I just want the space program to do well because we need to go into space, right? I don't have, a financial interest or anything. I have a personal interest in the space program. And maybe I shouldn't be so emotionally involved in this stuff, but it hurt. I'm not gonna lie to you, it hurt. It really hurt. Seeing Constellation get the boot. That hurt, traumatizingly hurt. Because you guys know me. Look at how much I love the space program. Come on, I take it very seriously, way more than I probably should. You know, hey, Akira-san. Konnichiwa. Ohayo gozaimasu minasai. But yeah, I secretly own thousands of dollars worth of Boeing stocks. Yeah, on my salary, nah. I do have stock in Boeing, but it ain't thousands of dollars. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the question you're looking for, but I can't really talk about Constellation without it inevitably turning into why it got canceled. So I figure I'd be preemptive about it because sometimes it pays to anticipate the next question that people ask, you know? So first stage is aligned. We're at 89.5. I'm going to get the second stage out here, and we will stack it, and then I think for this mission, Pathfinder is going up. No one spans panels anymore. I can't play Paneltron, Shaw. It doesn't work that way. I don't want to get DMCA'd, man. Doesn't SLS-1B have enough to get a lander there with Orion? No. No, it doesn't. Not even close. You can maybe take an ascent module at best. But chat can still do their part and put up panels. Well, if I don't tell them to, Shaw, I haven't told them to do that in years. If I don't tell them to, then they're not going to. I get back to doing it if it's going to make you happy. If you're designing Dart in real life, would you make any changes? T-Man, I don't know how to answer that question. Would I make any changes? I designed it. I don't understand what you're trying to ask me. Like, what do you mean? Would I make any changes? I would change it in a way to make sure that it works. I guess I don't know how to answer that. Hey, Atago, 22 month resub. Thanks, man. Yeah, Jared, I know it sounds ridiculous. SLS actually doesn't have really any viable path to a lander that can directly go down to the surface of the moon. And the reason is, believe it or not because of SLS. The reason is because of Orion. Orion's surface propulsion system was only designed to get you as far as Gateway. Hey, Tiger Fang, what's up, man? Yeah, HVB, like, I don't even know if Dart would fly correctly in real life. I don't even know where to start with that question. SLS is designed to get crew and cargo to Gateway. It's not designed to get crew and cargo to the surface of the moon. That's intentional. The idea is that you use Gateway as a staging point. And the thought at the time with Gateway is that if you make it, you're creating an anchor point in low Earth orbit, and because you don't need to make a rocket that gets you all the way to the surface of the moon, you can make a smaller rocket, right? Not much smaller, but you can make a smaller rocket and you can get away with it, and it looks more sustainable. The truth is that building a super heavy launch vehicle that can't get a lander to the surface of the moon is kind of, I mean, I'll take it. It's better than nothing. But yeah, it's kind of, yeah. Not much, dude. Just been super busy trying to get the house ready to put on the market. I hear you, man. I hear you. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna say that Constellation didn't piss me off. Constellation getting canned didn't piss me off. It pissed me off. But once again, it's important to not get too flustered about it. It's in the past. It doesn't matter. Okay. There we go. Alright, so one thing I gotta do is, could SLS Block 2 do an Apollo-style mission? Yeah, but SLS Block 2 is about as real as Dart is at this point, Ryan. Yeah, I feel like every conversation about space and Selenia has to do with a weird mix. At least we're doing space, and dang it, we could be doing so much more space. HPB, as somebody that teaches this stuff, it is very easy to get on a soapbox. It's very, very easy to allow yourself to get on a soapbox and just rant about it, and then you just sound like a whiny kid that's just complaining all the time. So I've been trying to not do that lately. You know, it's just... If Alpaca selected 1B, If Alpaca is selected, 1B would be a great way to carry fuel tanks forward. Oh, yeah, maybe. There's 3 on the book. Well, 2 on the books right now, Rocket. Artemis 1 and Artemis 2. Artemis 3 is working on long lead items, but yeah, Artemis 3 isn't even on the books yet. Just parts of it, which is just... That's a red flag for me, I'm not gonna lie. That's a red flag. You know, like when you're in a relationship and you see red flags, you're like, there's a good indicator of that this is not a good idea. Yeah, that's a red flag for me. I'm like, no, 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 no! Ah, come on! Okay, we got separator motors there. I want to hear more about the Artemis 1 CubeSats. I'm pretty sure NASA has a list of those CubeSats on their website and what they're doing. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I mean, Jared, it's, yeah, that's, yeah. Getting rid of the Apollo program was a very, very much a mistake. That was a very stupid thing to do. But once again, we have the benefit of hindsight, dude. Saturn 1B and Saturn 5 were about as concrete as you can get for sustainable infrastructure. And like, I get it. People say they're not, oh, the Apollo program isn't sustainable. Yeah, okay, why? Because it couldn't build something like Gateway? Oh, wait, yes it could. It could easily do that. So how is it not sustainable? Stupidest thing I've ever heard. Well, it's not stupid. I get what people are saying. It didn't have a gateway up at the time that it was canceled, so it wasn't really sustainable. Now, was it? No, I understand. But yeah, like I said, it's very easy to get frustrated about this stuff. It's super easy. But guys, take that energy that you're going to use to get into getting frustrated about it and use it to better yourself or figure out ways to tell people about the space program and spread awareness. I mean, at the end of the day, the biggest reasons why Apollo, why Constellation, why the space shuttle got canceled is because, well, not the space shuttle. The space shuttle was retired. The biggest reasons why Apollo and Constellation got axed was because lack of public perception. People got bored of going to the moon. All right, we got to the moon. Next thing. They got bored of doing that. NASA's funding is directly tied to public perception. If the public thinks we need it, politicians will pick up on that, and they'll think we need it, and then it becomes a thing, just like the Apollo program. So, once again, it's very easy to get on a soapbox. It's very easy to say, oh, you know, screw this person. This person screwed us here with this program. This person's a jerk. We shouldn't have done that. That's stupid. All you can do is learn from these mistakes and make sure they don't happen again, which is why I'm here on the front lines every day teaching people about space and teaching people its importance. It's super freaking important. Like, I cannot stress this enough. Yeah, at the time demo, but you go into the 70s, you start getting into automation, Saturn V becomes a lot more sustainable. That's right, HPB. That's called For All Mankind, Alti. I don't understand SLS if it can't launch a crew and a lander. I just explained it. It's designed to go to Gateway and build the lander there, and then go down to the surface. utilizing manufacturing methods. Okay, so that development money that they used to make the space shuttle, they could have used for the Saturn V and literally not spent an extra penny. I get it, Demo. I understand what you're trying to say, but that's... Oh, well, the manufacturing methods. Oh, you mean those manufacturing methods that they used to make the shuttle engines? Like, alright. How the hell was the shuttle program sustainable then, dude? You know, and I get it. They have to make more engines with the Saturn V, but really, that's the bottleneck, you think? I don't think so, man. You didn't sell me on it. The Raptors are loose, Phil. I saw that. Freedom 7 has a drogue chute for when it comes back down to land. In reality, the earlier versions of Freedom 7 boosted back, came back down, and they parachuted down and they landed right here. The unfortunate thing is that when it's launching Dart, Dart is too heavy for it to boost back. That sign is awesome, though, isn't it, Phil? Wouldn't it be easier if you didn't have to build Gateway? So Ryan, you got to look up as to why Gateway is the way that it is. Why Gateway's in the orbit that it is, and why Gateway is part of the Artemis program. Like, the orbit that it's in is... So, SLS could build Gateway because Gateway could be... Where Gateway is, you don't necessarily need a Saturn V-sized rocket to get to. Falcon Heavy can get to Gateway. The type of orbit that Gateway is in a highly eccentric rectilinear halo orbit, which is a polar orbit with high eccentricity that uses certain orbital perturbations to be able to stay... in line of sight with Earth at all times around its orbit, which is really cool. You don't have to set up a relay network with that either. And it also can be reached by smaller rockets, albeit with just resupply stuff, but that means you don't need to launch an SLS every time if you want to resupply it. It's actually not a bad idea. It really isn't. My thing is that the Saturn V could... an Apollo program could build Gateway, no problem. And it would probably be bigger. And be able to do more things. You know, I never really was on board with the idea of building a rocket that can get you close. And then relying on other things to get you closer. Like, I would want to have Saturn V at the end of the day. I mean, but then again, you know, people in hell want ice water, you know what I mean? So how big will Gateway be? I don't know, maybe quarter the size of the ISS? Okay, let's check for vehicle alignment here. So I'm putting together the launch vehicle here to shoot out to the moon. Yeah, TJ, it's... I hate how... I really can't stand how the Artemis program is the scraps of Constellation. It's Constellation without all the stuff that you need to actually go down to the moon reasonably. It's annoying, man. It sucks. But like I said, I've been trying I've been getting like really pissed off about this stuff lately and getting on the soapbox on stream and then ranting for like 3 hours. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. You guys have heard me drone on and on about this garbage all the time. I don't need to say it. I think I made my point. Hey, Frol, what's going on, dude? If I self-propel my mobile launcher, is there a good way to lift it off the wheels in KSP, or do you think I'm better making a tow vehicle? I think a tow vehicle would be the right solution, Prey, but the honest to God truth is that I don't know. I haven't. The only pad I've made is a pedestal pad like this, and then I've made a strong back pad in the past. I've never attempted to make a mobile launcher. The truth is, I would have to go mess with it. I don't know the right way to do it. True story. Hellfish, I don't do that. That comes off as disingenuous. I'll just try to find better ways to explain it without being on the soapbox so much, okay? On the other hand, Artemis is a program that's going to happen at this point. Between the hardware being built and international partners, I think it's the greatest achievement that Jim pulled off. Agreed. Yeah, that's what I mean, DJ. We can sit here and whine about Constellation, or we can get pumped that Artemis is actually going to be a thing. 6 degrees of separation, Prey. Remember that. Yeah, no, Gateway is not a bad idea, Demo. My question to you is, why can't Constellation build Gateway? Constellation could build Gateway and build it better. I agree. But Demo, I fully understand, like, why that can't happen. Let's be real. But also, I'm always going to argue for more spaceflight and not less. That's stupid. You know I can't stand people that do that. Constellation didn't get a gateway. That's not what I asked. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, the Akin's laws. I love those things.
Go and throttle up.
TJ. HPB! 3-month resub. Alright. I'm off to get some food. Enjoy the Bezos bucks. Thanks, man. It's good seeing you, dude. Hopefully we can, you know, hang out in person sometime soon. I've been just staring at the freaking wall here for like the past year and a half. I'm not going crazy, I swear. Anyway. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Have a good night, okay? Yeah, Rocket, that's kind of where I'm at, too. I mean, like, guys, at the end of the day, I'm always going to argue for better vehicle infrastructure. And I think Ares 1 and Ares 5 is better than SLS. I mean... I don't think that's a very controversial take, is it? I mean, that's like saying I'd rather have Mercury Redstone over Mercury Atlas. Like, what? What are you doing? I'm putting a shuttle together, T-Wood. Oh, wait. Oh, no, we'll be alright. Actually, you know what, guys? I'm going to recover this real quick. I need to modify this vehicle. Where's it going? To the moon? They were designed with purpose. Of course they were better. Yeah, Constellation was an integrated 30-year program, basically, with goals and deadlines in the interim that were sustainable and easy to, and well, not easy to do. It was step by step, which is really smart. Shame it didn't happen. Could be worse. Yeah, Rob. Oh, okay. Constellation happened in my heart. So what I'm going to do is, because the last time we attempted to do this, I had some nasty problems trying to move this thing around. I'm going to, for the first time, unlock the ore tank, right? And I'm going to place an ore tank on the front of this vehicle to be able to counterweight the shuttle that we go to pick up. Did I miss a crew launch? No, Arlo, we're working on it. There we go. So we're going to take Pathfinder and load Pathfinder up onto the pad here. So why am I moving the truck out of the hangar with the move tool? So it doesn't start up there, T-Wood? What the frick? How that... Oh god, I should have invested in this. Oh my god! I could be rich right now! Ah! I don't want to look at that. Oh, what the frick, man? Are you kidding me? 24? Frick you, 24? Ah! Go buy it now? Go buy it now? Alright. Frick it. Primo's not happy with me. Primo's not happy. It's not that I'm not happy. It's just gonna tank and we're gonna be out 20 bucks. It's just money, Pulse, right? I fully understand that that's not how this works. I get it, guys. And whatever. She's not angry. She's just disappointed. Yeah, this version of this vehicle with the ore tank at the front really helps. Tessa, you just bought 3,000 worth of Dogecoin? Get up Tessa's case, guys, not mine. Why, though? And gotcha. That's a stupid joke, and you should feel bad. Like... What? What? That's not... It's not even funny. This thing doesn't really work that well this way. Stuck. God damn it. Why? Why you do this? Well, sister, have some crypto on you. Oh, thank you. Why is this not working all of a sudden? Oh. Alright, there it goes. MacB! MacB! 1 bit. Oh, sister had 1,500 though. Thanks, man. Is Doge still going up? Literally, we bought and it's going down. Okay, that's great. The second I bought it, this is why you don't do this. Oh my goodness. How much does Dart weigh? 7.8 tons. I told you! Ah, just hodl. Just hodl. What wallet do you use? Yes. It's Robinhood right now. PJ is a disciplined investor. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Brimo, tell them about the other stocks that I told you to invest in a year and a half ago. How are those ones doing? Oh, they're all positive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I have no idea what I'm doing, though, right? Ask Brimo. Your boy's a pretty good investor, dude. Okay. Everything was going to go back up, which is why I said do it. Primo, do I look like the kind of person that would make spontaneous... I know the Dogecoin meme. Yeah, I get it. That's hilarious. That's funny. But that's 20 bucks. Do I look like the kind of person that would play around with money like that? No. Everybody in chat's going to be like, yes. See? Somebody already typed it. Nice, J-Rock. Thank you. You just fell for my trap card. No, I do my research and I make sure I know what I'm investing in, guys. Imagine not doing a little bit of market research before you invest in something. That's literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well, yes, but actually no. When did the KSP segment start today? NASA's FRR came out today for Crew 2, the flight readiness review. Happened, so it was very recent, Mapoko. We're behind on the timeline now, which is very annoying. NASA was an hour and a half late. Only when it comes to space stuff, though. Because space stuff is all I know about, right? Short line. Don't, come on, don't do me like that. No, they won't, J-Rock. Wait. Alright. How's Pathfinder doing? Okay, it needs monopropellant topped off. No problem. Is the orbiter powered on right now? It is. We gotta power it off. We're down $2 on Doge. I'm sorry for your loss. Guys, that's just a day-to-day. It'll go back up. Don't touch it, Brimo. Don't touch it. Stop. Stop what you're doing. Set it and forget it. Check it in the morning. $4. She does this. She does this and then has the gall to say that I'm a bad investor. Are you kidding me right now? I said to hodl on GameStop and you didn't. You sold because you kept checking it. We could have bought a house. Ugh. We could have bought a house, woman. This is not false. What's that, Flyka? Let me see. Cool. Oh, look at that little guy. Neat. We need an investment stream? No. I don't know what I'm doing, JSE, remember? Alright, TJ. See you, buddy. It's good to see you again, man. Yeah, flanking. Correct entropy. So, two foreseeable things from there. Chat doesn't know the difference, is the first one. Or the second one, chat knows the difference and they're just giving me crap. I'm gonna guess it's the latter and not the former. I'm launching a shuttle, Cernalar. I'm launching a shuttle up to the moon. Or launching a shuttle to the station and then the crew's going out to the moon. Of course, Sparrow. You just getting stuck on things for fun, or? Alright, we got a stack ready to go here. We'll get the crew access arm in place. And we'll get rolling. Of course, Tessa. Yeah, duh. Happy Gilmore flanking? Nice. Nice, Bill. Raptors have arrived, Bill. Dude. Whoa. You think you can build a train system or some kind of monorail? People have done it, Boo. Yeah, you can do it. Sure. Wow. Dude, look at those things. Those are the next gen Raptors. This is like Block 2 Raptor right here. New Raptor, who dis? That's what that says. It says new Raptor, who dis? New Raptor, who dis? Look at those things. Look at the nozzle. Nozzle's all different. Different color. That's cool. Oh. Huh. 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 Why are the nozzles green? They changed the material up on the mark. You're a color change. Got him. Gotta love the anti-corrosion oxidized. Yep. Real mature. You're real mature. Got him again. God, you just keep walking into it. Too easy. You got him. No, you got him. Got him. It's one positive for me. I never walk into a trap. Get it? Walk into the trap. Yeah. Yeah. Does that mean you roll into one, or? God, I'll find you. I'll find you. Find you, you cheeky son of a gun. Dude, you know where I live. Of course you'll find. Yeah, I know. That's what I just said. Well, that's what I'm saying to you. Okay, I don't know where you're going. Well, I don't know where you're going with this. All right, touche. I hate robotic drift. I hate it. I hate it so much. Is the crew access arm even gonna get to Dart? Oh crap. Alright. Oh, okay. Just scrape the paint. It's the leeward side. It's not a big deal. Wow. That's just horrible. Okay, remind me to not use this again. It's the weight reduction program. Yep. Scream! Yeah, this CAA will not be used again, ever. Yeah, we're gonna need to come up with a better solution, but I'm for the service gantries, but nah, Sparrow, it's not gonna tip. It'll be fine. Reminder: don't use this again. Okay. That quarter pedal's gonna use the quarter pedal. Gonna get. We gotta spray more bed liner on it. Where the heck is the truck? There we go. Alright, who's going to the moon? Who was the last guys to go to the moon? Val, Ludbard, and Lenny. So, Bobus is going to do this. Wabo. And John Doe. Alright. Goes to the moon. Jeb already went to the moon, Harris. I'm trying to get all my crews out there. Do Kerbals wear green? Their skin color's green. Do you wear anything that's skin colored, Kuro? It's a little weird. I do. It's called my skin. That's... Okay. Car keys? What are you... Car keys? What are you talking about? Not all people have pale skin. I didn't say pale skin. I said skin color, you prick. God, Demo. Listen better next time. Sorry. All right, here we go. Thanks, I. How are you? Okay. Bobus? Getting out of the truck here. I'm gonna shut the sound. How can you see the rocket? It's inside of a building. Goalie, you're not just the wings. You're the whole chicken. Man, it feels like I just did this yesterday. No, Boo. If you tag me in a retweet between now and the last time we talked, I don't have Twitter open. Got Doge. Yeah, we bought it. Bruno and I bought some just like a second ago, Dish. So it's probably not going to go anywhere, but. Okay, crew is now making its way into the access tower here. Serious question, why do real astronauts have those lunchbox looking things with tubes that go into their suit? That's their oxygen supply, dude. Can't they keep the helmet off and put it on in the capsule? Yeah, the thing is, Flykin, is that the suit is heavy and you sweat a lot in the suit. They have to dry them out just from standing there. Yeah, you got to keep it cool. It's not just about, you know, like oxygen and stuff. It's HVAC. There's a bunch of things, dude. Oh, Dish. That's awesome, man. You're going to make some good money. Like, it's the HVAC systems. It's not just oxygen, dude. There's a bunch of things. You know what would be really cool, Bobus? If you could just, I don't know, step up, please? Yeah, that would be really cool. I really appreciate that. No, I'll be damned if I can't step up this ladder. As much as we all like seeing you just dance around here. There you go, pal. Alright. John Doe. Last Kerbal here. There we go. See, he didn't skip leg day. Do you guys think asteroid mining will be something we will see in our lifetime? It's possible. Do you think someone in like 1952 thought that we would get to the moon? Do you think someone in 1952 thought that they would get to the moon in their lifetime? You never know. Should you buy Dogecoin? No, do not buy Dogecoin right now. Buy the dip. You don't want to buy high and sell low. That's how you lose money. All we need is more efficient propulsion in asteroid mining. And all we need is more efficient propulsion and asteroid mining will explode. Pretty much mind drive, but saying all we need is more efficient propulsion is like saying, oh, all we need to do is all we need is just the hardest thing that's possible to engineer to make this explode. But yeah, pretty much. We need better propulsion. Nuclear is a good start. But yeah, you're right. You're right. But also, that's if that was an easy problem to solve, somebody would have solved it by now. Just get good. Exactly. Okay. Crews are now making their way up the elevator. Yeah, that's dangerous. But yeah, mind you, for the most part, you're spot on. I mean, even nuclear. Nuclear, you could get about twice as efficient as Hydrolox. Twice the efficiency is pretty significant. All right, third crew that's going to find their way out to the moon here. Okay, crew now donning their helmets. Okay, Wubbo the scientist now ingressing into Pathfinder here. 2 times the efficiency because no oxidizer? I mean, that has something to do with it. Oh. Had a little bit of trouble getting in there. John Doe, the flight engineer, moving into the vehicle now. I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. Probably give me a moment. Okay. Bob is the commander of the mission, now moving into the commander's seat here. Okay, the 3 crew is aboard. And Herbal will now retract the crew access arm and climb on top of the elevator. No, this is not a crew swap. These guys are going out to the moon. They are going to the station builder, but they're only there to just keep Pathfinder there. And then they'll get into the transfer vehicle and then they'll go. So the hold downs, what do you want to see? My hold down is just a single docking port, Prey, and same vessel collision on a fairing and launch table. It's kind of like Intari's launch mount. It's actually the closest to that, but it's vertically integrated instead of horizontal. My solution to make a pad a lot more reusable was to basically take robotics out of the equation as much as I could. Don't rely on them because they bend. They bend and they break. Now I'm gonna move the crane out of position here. And we'll use the crew truck. Remember I told you about a potential job when you moved. Tiger Fang, you said you were... Was that you that said you were coming here? Like, your potential job was here? I forget. I remember you telling me about it, but, like, 4 or 5 people have told me about getting new jobs in, like, the past week, and that's really awesome. But, yeah, refresh my memory, dude. I remember you telling me about it, but I don't remember specifically what it was. Rig still on the crane? What are we stuck on? We're stuck on something. You're moving to North Carolina. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, you said you were getting the house ready a second ago, so I was like, oh, alright. Cool, man. Are we getting stuck somewhere? Oh, well, there's your problem. I was wondering what the heck was up there. It's like, why isn't this moving? Okay, crews are now moving the crane out of the way here. Alright, Jackery. Good luck on the moon. Well, I'm just gonna get them up onto orbit, guys. We'll go out to the moon probably tomorrow. Yeah, Flykin, yes. Okay, crane is retracted. I'm gonna get the crew truck. Well, not gonna get it totally out of the way. Glebless needs to get in. Oh, I'm sorry, MC. That sucks. Okay. So what we're gonna do now, before we move this out of the way, actually we can move the CAA out of the way. It's fine. I gotta make sure I remember to top the monopropellant off, and then we have to power on the vehicle. You guys know the reason why you do group projects? You do group projects because going to work once you get out of school is just a giant group project. Hit up the dean if your professor's going to be like that. Damn. Go right for the jugular, TNT. I like it. TNT don't play that, man. Sparrow, TNT don't play that, okay? In construction, everyone's pissed. I noticed that too, Dave. Everybody gets mad. It's like watching American Chopper. Source did work on a construction crew. All he did, I did that when I was really young, and I did it for a summer, and everybody just yelled at each other. They yelled at me too, and I'm just like, this is. Just finished a spicy tender platter from Popeyes. Just thought I'd share that tidbit. You're not a good person, Rocket. Okay? I've decided. You were a good person up until saying that, and you've deeply, deeply offended me now. Was it good, man? I am deeply offended. You will fax me some chicken immediately. I've been yelled at for the last few months. It's something. It was delicious. It was tasty. Tastes good. All right. Dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 dun dun dun. That was like the equivalent of a face reveal. Just thought I'd let you know. Alright, dudes. It actually sounded like Doctor Who. I was trying to make it sound like nothing. Someone clip that. Alright. Ground pad closeout crews are now exiting the pad and moving to minimal safe distance. We're disengaged, going for minimal safe distance. What is that thing, Lieutenant? Hell if I know, but we're landing on it. Stoppy bonus. Okay. You guys ready? Another crew launch. Alright, alignment check. 89.8. We are in good alignment. Hierarchy check. Hierarchy check. We should be route parting to Dart's docking port. Hierarchy check is confirmed. Alright. The hierarchy check, just in case you're new and you haven't seen that, it's to make sure that route part is on the launch vehicle. Because I made my own launch pad. The game doesn't know, unless I tell it, the game doesn't know what part of the like what's rocket and what's launch pad. So I need to make sure that the route part is up here on the shuttle. If it's not, I don't control the rocket when it leaves the pad. And if I don't control the rocket when it leaves the pad, your odds of going to space go down exponentially. Is it making me hype for Crew 2? Yeah. Alright, we're gonna stage the rocket. Okay. Next thing we'll do here is open up the fill and drain valve. Not gonna lie, seeing that many auto struts in the scene makes my PC cringe. Eh. It's no problem. My PC's got it, man. No, so we got Freedom 7. This is version 2.1. It is expendable. Payload is an HL-30. This is Luna 4 Launch 3. 98 by 98 to Liberty Station. This is... the crew is Bobus Kerman, who's the commander. We have John Doe Kerman, who is the flight engineer. And then we have Wubbo Kerman, who is the mission specialist. Dart is 7.2 tons. This is the 6th launch from this pad, 86th total. Vehicle serial number is Pathfinder, which is orbital vehicle 103, I believe. I better go look. Oh no, Pathfinder's 101, Voyager's 103. Nice. I think this is Pathfinder's... let's see. 3rd flight. So down. This is its 4th flight. 4th flight. Never been recovered. Actually, Pathfinder was recovered once. So it's 4 flights total. 3 flights without being recovered. First stage serial number 2933. Okay. 233. Mission description. Crew launch for Luna 4 mission. The booster will be expended. Okay, so now we're going to coordinated T0 time here. We're going year 3, day 313. And we will go with 202. So that's 10 minutes out. Okay. First thing we need to do is do a vehicle checkout. So we got to go here, right here, and we are going to open up the fill and drain valves here between Dart and the upper stage. They are open, okay? Tanks are closed out and depressurized right now. Okay? Now we have to do same vessel collision
Discovery,
here, and we got to go here. RE7 loads. Sorry, it took me a second. 10-month resub. Hey, 10 months. Thanks, man. Okay. FLTX 900 fuel tank has same vessel collision on it. Let's go down to the fairing right here. That it's the interstage fairing. Same vessel collision. Okay. Cool. I'm going to go in here and make sure we enable cross feed on the second stage fill and drain valves. Okay. First stage fill and drain valve is open. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find that tank, and first thing we have to do, first order of business, is to arm the launch escape system. And in order to do that, we got to prime it first. Well, not prime it, we got to tank it. Previous username is Dianite's dad. I was going to say, I don't know who the heck you are. Is it Rhett Loathes Dianite, or is it RE7? Is RE7 fine? You got to tell me. Oh, reloads. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Mason, of course it is. It's a Dean Hall game. Dean's the friggin' man. Love that guy. Mason, Dean always makes the game ridiculously difficult. I frickin' love it, dude. That's exactly the type of games I love playing. And I know you do too. Capital L doesn't show up on Twitch, so it looks kind of funny. Oh, okay. Oh, I get it. The 7 with the L. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah, sorry, it took me a second. Alright, guys, let's get her done here. Okay. Okay. Fuel systems are primed. Making sure that control surfaces are closed out on the vehicle. They are. Control surfaces, all of them, are closed out. Next thing I got to do is just make sure I go down here and check our launch table. Make sure the launch table has same vessel collision on it, and it does. Same vessel collision is good all around. Perfect. Make sure that these are configured correctly. Yep. See, I saved the launch escape system on Pathfinder. Good thing I checked that. That wouldn't have ended well. The LES wouldn't have worked if I needed it to go. Okay, those systems are operational. Monopropellant systems are golden. Perfect. I'm a little bit behind J-Speed because NASA's FRR, the flight readiness review for Crew 2 happened, and it was originally scheduled for like 5:30, and then it was scheduled for 7 because NASA. So I'm like an hour and a half behind on the schedule right now, but we should be good. We're gonna at least get this up there, and then we'll go to the moon tomorrow. I gotta get this up to the station at the very least today. Okay, so our launch escape system is armed. So what I'm going to do, we're going to load up the action group menu, go into the aborter, activate engine, free the gimbal, activate pitch control. Just make sure we do that twice. Now, I'll put them in, but it doesn't like triggering, so I'll manually trigger that. Okay. So, the launch escape system is primed. Or not primed, it's activated. And system is pressurized. Okay. We're good. Launch escape is ready to go in case something happens. Strange, so I basically got a week to do 4 more lunar missions after this. But I have all the... It should be easy to do. I should be able to do a lunar mission every 2 days, so that's why like, that FRR really screwed me. I needed to get this done, so I'd only have to do 4 missions next week. But it's alright. We'll put this thing to work. We'll get stuff done. This is a tough deadline. This one's going to be hard, those 5 lunar missions. But you guys gave me the money to do it, so that's why I'm, you know, I got Freedom 10 up and running and 7 working. We got them working pretty well, actually, but it's fine. Okay, we're going to start first stage fueling at this time. First stage fueling has begun. Nice, Hellfish. Hey, Helmet, what's going on? Here we go. I haven't, Carrier. I'll check it out after these guys are up in space, man, okay? First stage fueling is underway. We are about a quarter of the way there. How do you keep track of the money chat gives you? It's all logged in polls on the website, Sparrow. You guys don't use Twitch. We don't use integrated Twitch polls. We integrated the website with Twitch chat, so every poll is logged, so we can trace. You can trace funding for any program. Baloney, can you do the link it up? You'd like to check out a GIF of an animation I did and give me your opinion. Okay, so first of all, let's wait until after. Second of all, put it on Imager or something, and then ask for link prims in the chat by a moderator, and then we should be good. But once again, do that after. Yeah, we got to get up into space today, man, and I have to focus. I get nervous every time we put this thing on here. No problem, you do it later. Right on, brother. I would love to see it, dude. You don't have any issues fueling like that with the parts that are auto strut to heaviest? No? No, not at all. Why? Don't get me wrong, I don't usually time warp through a launch like this, so the auto struts don't really have time to recalculate until I separate, but over time I've been seeing that it's really not an issue. The auto struts didn't change because the fuel farm still has full fuel tanks, so the auto struts are the same. Yeah, I don't like time warping through the fuel load. That's not smart. Second stage fueling is underway. Yeah, Sparrow, I generally... You don't want to go shifting around auto struts like Rocketology said. It's a bad idea. Yeah, Rocket, it's... Yeah, those auto struts are... I'd make sure they don't dance around on me. Yeah, you know why. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Bad idea. Slip, slip, slip and lip. Got things to get your kicks. Loose lips, sting ships. I don't know why rat's stuck in my head, but hey, whatever. But yeah, Rocket, that's what took... honestly, little things like that are why the pad... Like, what took the longest with the pad. Like, figuring out little tricks like that. Making sure that the auto struts during the fueling procedure don't change. Yeah, it's little tricks like that really, really make the difference, dude. How many souls are aboard the shuttle? We got 3. Bobbus, Wubbo, and John Doe. They are heading out to the moon here, but I'm just trying to get them up in space right now. They got to get to the station. I still got your ridiculous rocket reveal song stuck in my head. Here, I can fix that. Tesla Cybertruck spotted at Giga, Texas. I was just there driving Cybertruck around the site where it would be built. Cool. Oh, look at this, Baloney. That's cool. I like it. Look at that. I'll check the rest of it later. I had that with my shuttle stack, with it having SRBs that I had to engineer around for when the boosters separated. Oh, yeah. First stage is fully fueled. Second stage is 30% of the way fueled. I'm having a brain fart. How do you change the main control point? Right click on a docking port and say control from here. Looks good, demo. Oh, in build mode. In build mode. Oh, dude, I'm stupid. What J-Speed said. He was very J-speedy this time. Press 4 and then left click on the subassembly and you can change it. You can change the root part is what it's called. Boop. Mr. J Slow, am I right? Goat him. EJ Jam. This is mission control sitting at T-minus 3 minutes and 12 seconds. Okay. Vehicle is fully fueled. Disabling all cross feeds on the vehicle at this time. Dart closeout is complete. Okay, second stage gas closeout is complete. Station is currently directly overhead, waiting for its recipients.
Discovery.
Hey, Roddy, thanks for the gifted sub, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, brother. Gifted a sub to Sudiman. Hey, Sudiman. That's cool. I know you're out there, man. Alright, the next step in the flight is sequencer start here. Crews are now currently powering on Pathfinder here in preparation for its 4th flight. You're the man, coffee for life. Well, I tell you what I'd do, man. I'd have 2 coffees at the same time, man. You damn straight always wanted to do that. I figure I could hook that up, because, you know, chicks dig dudes with coffee. Kind of chicks that, you know, would want 2 cups of coffee would. Good point. T-minus 2 minutes and 15 seconds. In 15, we will release from the planned hold. Kind of garbage would double up on a guy like me, dude. Good point. Hey, karate man, check out Channel 9. Check out this cup of coffee. Oh, sorry, man. You tea over there or something? So stupid. Alright. Yeah, I gotta focus here. Okay, here we go. We go for auto sequencer start. Pathfinder and Freedom 7's onboard computers have primary control of all vehicle critical functions. Stand by for first stage gas closeout. First stage gas is closed out. First stage is pressing for flight. Stand by for TVC checkout. TVC checkout is confirmed. Okay, so we need to bring up two things here. Launch escape system separation controls and ground pyrotechnics. Ground pyrotechnics system is online and not armed. LES, we're going to arm the launch escape system at this time. Or, well, the separator controls for it. Separator controls are armed. T-minus 1 minute and 30 seconds. We're going to launch. Dart is going to move into a wings up, rudder down position. So we are going to roll off the pad. We're going to roll to the left. So we're going to roll that way to the 90-degree heading. Then we're going to pitch over to 85 and then literally just leave it. Just leave it. It's going to fly on a steep ascent, and it's not going to be efficient, guys. But it's really only way that I know that this thing will be aerodynamically stable to get up into space. After that, we'll have main engine cutoff. That should happen around 18 to 20, around there. I got to make sure before main engine cutoff, we align with the prograde vector, separate the stage, get good upper stage ignition, and then turn over to pitch down range for an ascent. We don't want to make sure we have a flip like we had last time. Last time when we separated, the second stage tumbled a little bit, but I regained control just in time to get that crew up there. I do not want that to happen. So what I've done this time around is enable a separator system. I have separatrons on the second stage to be able to shoot it off and keep it nice and stable under acceleration. So it should be able to should stay nice and stable as long as I find that prograde vector during staging and fly it. T-minus 55 seconds and counting. Thanks, Filoni. Here we go. Range Operations Coordinator. Report range status. Status check. Go Freedom 7. Go Pathfinder. Go Luna 4, Flight 3. Clear to proceed with terminal count. T-minus 30 seconds and counting. Now, keep in mind, guys, that's 30 seconds in game. So, it's more like 1 minute. T-minus 35 seconds. That's correct, Sparrow. We're at about 50% simulation, but don't worry. Once we get out of render range of the pad, it won't be an issue. T-minus 20 seconds. Ground Pyrotechnic is armed. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition and a liftoff. Luna 4, Flight 3, with the orbiter Pathfinder moving moving the third crew out to the moon. Vehicles cleared the tower. Go for roll program. Roll program is complete. Vehicles now pitching downrange. Okay. Now we let it ride. Let the SAS lock in. Dynamic pressures at 3,700 pascals. Vehicles traveling at 97 meters a second, 1.7 kilometers off the ground here. All systems still looking good. T plus 40 seconds into the flight. Pathfinder and crew on board will now be going through maximum dynamic pressure here, where peak structural load is being exerted on the vehicle. Systems looking good. Dynamic pressure going up over 11,000. That's a little bit higher, but it's okay. 13. Vehicle's now transonic. Max Q 14.4 at 8,400. Everything's looking good here. Okay, beginning secondary pitch over at this time. Stand by for Miko. Miko confirmed. That was not good. It's still screwed up. The arrow still took it, but I anticipated that it might happen, so I fixed it. That's not good though, guys. We shouldn't get into a habit like that. That's obviously not what I want the vehicle to do. We had good first stage performance there. Yeah, Rocket, that's the 4th launch that I've done off the pad. It needs to be refurbed every 10 launches. Stuff starts bending out of shape. But yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm not happy with the separation there. That's... Yeah, it seems to like hot staging a little bit better. We might have to hot stage Freedom 7. Okay, we're high enough to safe the flight termination system. Flight termination system is locked out and safe. This is actually a pretty good ascent trajectory here. Tech, small token of my appreciation. Thanks, dude. Okay. Apoapsis has been established here. Just get it down just a little bit. Next step in the flight is second stage engine cutoff. Yeah, I basically just got to fire the engine right at separation. Yeah, Rocket, no, you're not wrong, dude. My only hope is that people understand what we have here. You know? But it's okay. Alright, we have second stage engine cutoff. Stand by for deploy. We have a good deploy from Dart here. Stand by for Ohms 1 at AP. T-minus 1 minute, 5 seconds. We had lost a signal on the first stage as expected. Okay, launch escape system has safed. No way, Blue. That's crazy. Okay. Stand by for orbiter maneuvering 1. I mean, in Rocket, the shuttles were used. Pathfinder's flown into space 2 times. 4 times, or 3 times, well, 2 times prior. This is its 4th flight. Okay, we are on orbit. Okay. We'll do another correction soon. Okay. Initial orbital insertion was 92 by 99, so 99 km by 92 km. All right, we have some differential inclination here. Okay, well, that's not good. Yeah, it's not the worst. Okay, crew's gonna get up to the station here. No, sisters, brothers. Spacecrafts are way more complicated in real life than they are in KSP. I don't know about you, but simplifying the controls on my spaceship doesn't seem like the wisest decision, in the same way that, you know, like an iPhone has simplified controls, and if something breaks on it, then... You know what I mean? Well, have fun with that. Hardware does fail on spacecraft. That happens.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Alright, so the station's out in front of us a little bit, guys. And we're going to have to do 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 orbits to catch up to the thing. Alright, so let's dial in the maneuver here. Okay. Now we're good. That scared me for a second, but then I know I clicked on the right button. I just didn't think that it would time warp like that. Yeah, people. Oh my goodness. You just gotta be cognizant of that fuel, man. I'm gonna restart the album. Whoop.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Scary, Tier 2 54-month resub, STS-54, January 1993, Endeavor's third launch, TDRS launch with the IEUS booster. It is a cool payload. Further EVA testing for future missions. Awesome. Pathfinder is in range of the station again. $154 streak. Hell yeah. Close is 1 meter a second. We got a good visual on the station. 6 meters in closing. It's in sight. The winter, they're counting on the winter to blow the panels off, airborne. Stand by for final dock. We have soft capture confirmed. The hell? Okay. All right. I was right. That was a soft capture. Okay, cool. All right, Pathfinder's up at the station. That long orbiter duration, we might need to load that thing up with fuel to go home. Not ideal, but all right. Closing out systems, or hibernating systems on the vehicle here. See last. Didn't we just surpass fourth years of shuttle flights? I don't know what that means. Sorry, man. I don't know what that means. Find myself removing docking ports from symmetry because how horribly buggy the primary docking port mechanic. I never put docking ports in symmetry anymore. Nah, great, not a good idea. Let me ask you something. When you come in on Monday and you're not feeling too well, does anyone ever tell you sound like someone's got a case of the Mondays? No, man. Shoot, no. I believe you get your butt kicked saying something like that. Airborne insight. Insight the lander. The solar panels on the lander. The dust. They keep kicking dust up on the solar panels. They have no way to get it off. And Mason, where's your last? Okay, a link. Yeah, new Raptor. Who dis? Nice. Am I the only EU guy in chat? Nah, the EU guys are around. They're just sleepy right now, Dockster. Either that or they're just getting up. What's the objective of the mission? Arlo, this crew is going to transfer into this vehicle out here that says TS8, and then they're going out to the moon. But I'm going to save that for tomorrow's stream. I'm getting a little bit on the tired side. I don't want to go and try to land Kerbals on the moon when I'm tired. So what I'll do is we'll transfer the crew into the vehicle there. I thought Insight could shake its solar arrays to get the dirt off. Yeah, they're not going to lose anything, hello. They're just powering it down because there's more dust than they anticipated. They're not losing it at all. They're just putting it into low power mode to be sure. But, you know, everybody hears NASA puts rover into low power mode and goes, up, they're losing the rover. Headlines are saying it can die because NASA cites a low probability of that happened in press releases. Happening? All right, guys. Well, the orbiter's up, the transfer vehicle's there. We just got to send it. And we'll do that tomorrow. Wait, just joining the stream, NASA's losing a rover. No, they're putting a rover in low power mode because it's winter on Mars. It says it may have issues recovering. And you might eat a chicken sandwich tomorrow. Does that mean you're going to? Might, Airborne, might. That's contingent. That's contingent. That's a dog crap headline. I like that C-22. That's good. How many launches today? Just one. That's all we needed. The news clickbaits NASA stuff all the time, dude, because the news practically begs for something like Apollo 13 to happen because it's herder ma story. Herder ma story. I can't stand it, dude. It makes me want to headbutt a wall. It makes me want to headbutt a damn wall. All right, guys, we got a good launch today. Yeah, we're good. Do we want to take off the F7 plate in preparation for whatever's next? For sure, I'm eating Church of the Chicken for lunch. Excuse me. Loop, when the mission's over and I land Dart and we have to reintegrate Dart, that's when I'll do it. Like, and I have to put it back on its stand, and then we'll go from there, dude. NASA's very good at what it does, but explaining to the public what it does and why, not so much. Yeah, Toa, that's where I come in. That's what I'm good at. I can explain this stuff to people. I don't know why. I don't know why when I do it, people listen. I don't know what the hell that's about. Timmy arguably does it better than I do, you know? NASA, so like, it's gonna sound, I'm gonna sound like Tom Spikowski right now, but honestly, they have press interviews with the engineers and stuff, and the engineers just explain to you what's going on in engineering terms as basic as they can. Engineers are not good at dealing with customers. Okay? You know, I have people skills, chat. I'm good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people? I'm not wrong. Church of the Chicken is a thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Scary. I'll go with that. Red Stapler Replenishment Fund. Thank you. All right, so that's going to do it for KSP. Tomorrow we get Luna 4 to the moon. We're a little bit behind on the timeline, so one of the days next week, I might have, we're going to have to play Kerbal for early hours. Oh, God, I know. It's a big pain in the butt. We got to be careful because oh, crap, there's a Starship launch next week. Oh, man, I'm not gonna get this. Oh, man, dude, next week is going to be crazy. Next week is going to be insane. Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Nice, Mason. There you go. And a crew launch. Why did this happen this way? Oh, God. Crew Dragon's going too. Oh, no. I'm screwed. You wanted a case, we got your case. A case with 4 shuttles in it! Not 1 or 2 or 3, but 4! What is this, Adam? Astronaut selection? Jeez. Are we going to recreate BFR? I don't know. Maybe. Alright. No, maybe I'll stack something off Stream King. I'm not sure. Tomorrow, Crew 2 heads to the Cape and Soyuz on docks. Well, that in this case, leaving the moon mission for tomorrow is probably a good thing because going out to the moon ain't going to take very long. All right. So, that's where I'm going to leave you guys tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do early hours again. We'll do early hours Minecraft, and we will... hold on. Yeah, early hours Minecraft, and then... obviously, the crew getting out there. Actually, we're probably going to do space news. It's probably going to be a lot of space news and with Minecraft, like, kind of in the background. Who's out there streaming? Tell me about that gift later. Oh, we'll do. So yeah, we'll do Minecraft early hours and a little bit of space news, and that should leave a lot of time open for Kerbal, and we can watch the Soyuz undock too. So tomorrow, got more rocket science, more great stuff. Bet you can't guess the name of this. Stupid. You're welcome. Wow, there's really nobody's around right now. What the hell is this about? Okay, Hosworth is streaming. Let's go see what he's up to. Go see what Haas is up to, you guys. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.